The rotunda of the National Archives functions as a civic temple. Guarded by heavy bronze doors and armed security, it is a space designed for silence and veneration. Inside, the original 1776 engrossed parchment of the Declaration of Independence rests under specialized lighting. 250 years of exposure have left the ink faded and the signatures barely legible, requiring constant surveillance from legions of conservators. Tens of millions of people have stood in this room, straining to see the dim parchment. To many, the physical document represents the untouchable source of the nation's highest moral ideals. However, this marble shrine environment creates a sense of distance. It frames the country's founding philosophy as a static, ancient relic, physically removed from the realities of modern life. Throughout the 19th century, the American public treated the document with far less ceremony. Far from the locked vaults of Washington, the Declaration's text appeared on a vast range of cheap, everyday consumer goods. Factories produced cotton and silk handkerchiefs imprinted with the full text and the signer's autographs. These were functional items used by ordinary citizens who were, quite literally, blowing their noses into the founder's words. Businesses converted the text into a marketing gimmick. One New York coal merchant used the document as a sales incentive, presenting a guaranteed correct copy to every family that bought their winter fuel from him. This raises a difficult question. How did the fixed Star of Freedom become a standard promotional giveaway for dry goods and heating fuel? This mass market saturation suggests a strange possibility that the survival of these principles relied less on marble shrines and more on the commercial culture that surrounded them. Thomas Jefferson intended the Declaration to be an expression of the American mind, grounding the text in the shared common sense of 1776 rather than inventing entirely new philosophies. This universal language made the text a flexible political weapon, allowing future generations to pick up the document and repurpose it for conflicting agendas. Abraham Lincoln invoked the Declaration's promise of equality at Gettysburg, utilizing the text to justify the struggle to abolish slavery. Years later, suffragists adapted the document's specific structure and rhetoric to demand legal rights and the vote for women. In the 20th century, Franklin Roosevelt leveraged the text to push through vast economic reforms, even having a redacted version of the preamble carved into the walls of the new Jefferson Memorial. If the Declaration had remained confined to the speeches of politicians and the walls of monuments, it would have functioned only as a specialized tool for the political elite. The 1876 centennial shifted the document's trajectory, moving the Declaration out of political halls and directly into ordinary homes. Entrepreneurial printers quickly began mass-producing facsimiles of the parchment, looking to profit from the surge in patriotic sentiment. These companies sold reproductions in bulk to local businesses, from dry goods stores to fertilizer manufacturers, who then stamped their own advertisements into the lower corners of the prints. These everyday businesses subsidized the spread of the founding ideals to the working class, making the text a common household item. These cheap prints traveled west with settlers, hanging in frontier cabins as a tangible link back to the nation's founding moment. The document also reached new immigrants in crowded urban centers, where it served as a primary guide for those looking to assimilate into American values. Commercial ambition successfully domesticated the Declaration. It allowed every citizen to own a physical piece of the national identity, long before the government built a permanent home for the original. Today, the modern National Archives faces a biological and chemical certainty. Despite advanced security and constant conservation efforts, the engrossed parchment is actively degrading. The physical document will lose legibility and eventually crumble into dust. The physical death of this relic will be a loss for historians, but it will not destroy the foundational principles of the country. The survival of American independence is tied to its commodification, which decentralized the idea across millions of cheap, framed replicas. These reproductions function as a bridge, linking the immigrants who crossed oceans seeking its promises to the citizens living today. The Declaration provides a shared vocabulary for our political disputes, acting as a constant reminder of the principles that bind a self-governing republic together. The national ideal persists in the crinkly, mass-produced, sweet-smelling fake parchments pinned to bedroom walls across the country.